just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the A Show, episode 67 with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Justin Davis. I'm here with Meelz. What's going on, Meelz?
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. Is that why? Meelz, you're a little bit grumpy today. Is that why you're cold? Is that why you're mad?
I'm not grumpy. I'll tell you that. I'm not grumpy. But it is very cold. Yeah, it is very cold in New York City and the northern eastern to midwestern. Yeah, there we go. Midwestern part of the United States. So you know what? My condolences and my thoughts to everyone who's in either Chicago or Minnesota or Michigan, where the wind chill is like negative 65, negative 40 degrees. Just these ungodly temperatures that no human should ever have to sort of live through unless you live in
Chicago.
Yeah, it's, they've been through enough.
Yeah. It's it really is like a really cold, as they said, it's going to be colder than Antarctica, or as cold as Antarctica in Chicago.
It is as cold as Antarctica right now, which is sad, but it is what it is. You know what? Weather is weather, but it really kicked my ass today. I'll be honest with you. It really, really did.
So, anybody in these conditions right now, please stay bundled up. Please stay safe. Pray for our homeless.
Yeah, listen to the A Show to keep you warm, man. We about to spit that hot fire coming pretty soon. So, listen to the A Show, man. Let's stay indoors and listen to the A Show. That's the new slogan for this.
For this winter.
For the tweet.
We actually have to start the show off with some good news. That's bad news. We'll start the show off with some good news. Meelz, you have the winner of our A Show Royal Rumble pool. You care to reveal who these two lucky people are?
Yes. So thank you to everyone who committed to our A Show Royal Rumble pool. And everyone, we got signed up pretty much within the first hour. It was pretty much all filled up. So thank you to everyone who sort of committed to this and who signed up for this and who was interested in sort of doing this.
We're truly blessed.
We're truly blessed. Quite honestly, thank you to the people who continue to support and continue to share. We're growing. Our listener base is growing. Everything is growing. And that's really kind of how we want to continue to do. We want to continue to grow and give you guys amazing content. So thank you to everyone who's sort of, tuning in. And this Royal Rumble pool is just more of we want to have a direct line with the fans. And we want to have, we know there are people with voices who are also interested in professional wrestling who may not have the platform to deliver things on their own podcast or a podcast that they think. So we definitely do want to shed light on that. So I want to give a shout out to the winners of the Royal Rumble pool. You can find them on Twitter at Darius_ESQ, who is someone that I actually, if you know me, I play Pokemon Go. Someone who's actually on my friend list on Pokemon Go. So shout out to him.
And shout out to him. He actually obviously follows us, but he's a big supporter of the show also. So shout out to Darius.
Yeah, shout out to Darius. And we also have Sinvidius, which is it sounds like, he came straight from NXT. Yeah, man, come on.
Yeah, he sounds like a video game villain, dog.
Listen, Sinvidius sound like Mordecai's brother, like somebody, like Sinvidius. I guess it's like Sin Vicious, but Vidius. Nonetheless, at some point during the next couple months, you will be joining us on the A Show. Both of you, whether it's at the same time or whether it's separately, you will both be joining us on the A Show. So thank you guys for participating in this tournament. Congratulations. I guess you both owe Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch a major,
Who won what? Which one did I don't know who won what. Do you
know? So let me actually check. I gotta go back into the file. But I believe. Geez, now I gotta really find this thing.
My bad. I got you, put you on the spot.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. I mean,
because I won my pool. This is why you're looking for. I won my pool on Sunday.
Which pool did you win?
Our good friend Bill Handstock. He had a little Rumble get together, and we gambled on the picks. So I lost, and we gambled for money. So I lost the first one. I lost $5. The women's one, I got like Lacey Evans and Ember Moon and shit like that. I was like, I got people I knew weren't gonna win. So I literally in the men's Rumble picks, I got Braun, Seth, Ray, Pete Dunne, and Aleister Black.
Ooh. That's fun.
And then by the end of the match, I was like, wait a minute. I looked down and I was like, who's got Braun? And I looked down and I was like, wait a minute, I've got Braun and Seth. And I was like, oh, everyone just started giving me their money.
Oh, that's fire. Well, there you go, man. Yeah, and shout out to our friend Chris Novak as well, who had his own Royal Rumble pool, had his own couple of winners, had his own. That one had a big turnout too. That one had a big pot. So if you were in that one and you won, I mean, for that one I had Sonya Deville, and in the men's I had somebody else. Man, it couldn't have been anyone, relevant.
I got iced out. I lost that one badly.
Oh yeah. But this one, so Darius actually won the women's Royal Rumble 28. It was originally Lana, so could have turned out incredibly bad for you.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it could have turned out incredibly bad for you. But you know what? By a stroke of luck, by her, getting injured in the kickoff show, you won. So shout out to Darius, and then Sinvidius taking home the men's Royal Rumble from the unlikely number 10 spot. I mean, that's pretty early to win the Royal Rumble.
I think, is that the first time anyone from number 10's ever won the Rumble? That's like a crazy number.
It probably is. You know what it probably is? It's honestly, I feel like it's one of the earliest numbers to win in a couple of years, because you haven't really gotten anyone from the first 10 actually win the Royal Rumble unless you're like number 1 or number 2. So it's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, it just proves that anyone can sort of win from any spot. Yeah.
So congratulations to you two. We'll be in touch. Let's just say that much. Just like William Regal says, we'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch.
Let's start off with a huge packed show. A huge packed no holds barred this week. So much.
I feel like let's call it the AEW potential.
The AEW watch.
The AEW watch. We're on AEW watch right now.
Oh my God. Cody GIF. Put the Cody GIF in here, bro. Put the ears up. Put the ear up. Put the hand in your ear. So first off, we'll start with the biggest one, and we'll just kind of go down by largest to the smallest importance, in my opinion. Dean Ambrose. It was announced Monday night, literally right after Raw ended, that Dean Ambrose was not resigning with the WWE. He is going to be leaving in April. Pretty much that's all that we know so far. There have been a bunch of reports put out. This was actually reported by PW Torch late at night, like 2 a.m. on the East Coast. Dean Ambrose pretty much gave his notice, and he was on his way out. He gave his notice over the weekend, and pretty much everybody in the company knew. Literally the day after, we got the not a lot of people thought this was a weird tweet, but WWE basically put out a tweet confirming the news, saying that they wish him the best, and hopefully one day he'll be back in the WWE, which seems to be pretty amicable. A lot of people have conflicting viewpoints and opinions on the character of Dean Ambrose at this point. I will say this is probably the biggest news, and when you think about it, like January. Meelz, we were expecting a lot of news from January, and we've gotten a lot of it, but nothing like bombshell. Like AEW, we kind of expected. The signings, we kind of expected. That wasn't as bombshell as this right here, happening literally at the end of the month. Dean Ambrose is gone. So, what were your thoughts when you first saw that, Meelz? Were you, rejoiceful, or how'd you feel?
You know what? In terms of Dean Ambrose and the status with the WWE, I definitely do think it was incredibly surprising, actually. I mean, I think a lot of people say it's not surprising just based on his character, but I do think it's surprising in a sense of just like, when you look at Dean Ambrose, he's really been one of the main figures in WWE since his debut. I mean, they've treated him well. They've given him all the opportunity, all the shine. He's a former world champion. He's someone who the crowd has been behind quite vociferously for the last number of years. They're really behind Dean Ambrose in terms of all this. So when it comes to, like, especially around Royal Rumble time and WrestleMania time, we usually don't get these type of announcements around that time that, you know, and to me, even the announcement by WWE just saying a preemptive, like, 3 months prior, he's not signing back. Like that to me is kind of, it's not something that they typically do in their practices. We'll usually know for months, and then we'll get the WrestleMania send off, and then we'll get the news later on. Or maybe not even the news at all. But this is all surprising. In terms of my thoughts on Dean Ambrose, you know, I do think that he does bring a different type of energy to whatever show he's on. And I do think that he brings some sort of star power to show he's on. Not to say that he's John Cena or Brock Lesnar in a sense, but he does, to me, when he was gone for those 7 months with that tricep injury, they definitely did feel like there was a void on Monday nights. And when he came back to me, that felt like a little bit of excitement, a little bit of, how do I say...
It lifted the show up. It lifted the show up a little bit.
It lifted the show up. It really felt like, you know, he's someone that anything could kind of happen at any time. His character is not really as straightforward or just like one foot in front of the other, like with Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins. He's kind of like wacky. He's very, you know, eccentric. He's very, anything can happen at any time. So to me, you know, it was star power. I'm kind of, you know, sad to see him go. But I mean, if he wants to go, it's weird because he's technically in the prime of his career. These are his prime years. He's early 30s still. He's not even 35 yet. So it's kind of weird when this goes on, but maybe this is one of the reasons why. Maybe he's like, listen, I can come back to the WWE anytime. Maybe it's time for me to explore things elsewhere. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I do like think that he might be burnt out. And I mean, thinking about everything that's happened since he came back, like I just said, he was a lift to the show when he came back, but then his first match happened and it was not good. And it just seemed like, and this was even before he got injured. Like,
but can you blame someone who's just like getting back into it and the first match is not great? I wouldn't.
Hold on.
I wouldn't put too much stock into that.
Hold on. Even before he got injured, the only time he ever felt like he was actually energized and wanted to do anything was when he was having matches with Seth, and Matt, like as a tag team. Like, I think as far as his run goes in the past 4 years, I've only ever really fucked with his WWE title run. And even then it was like guys like Cena and AJ pretty much carrying the whole thing. Like his match against AJ Styles is probably one of his best singles matches in the company to me. Mm-hmm. Other than his first feud with Seth, I just never felt like he, you know, his matches connected to me as his character did to me. Like, I loved his character, didn't like his wrestling. As far as everyone saying like he didn't like, you know, the report saying he didn't like hokey shit, his character is hokey. Literally, even if he was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do, you cannot have a dark, like, CZW character in WWE. It's just not going to happen. He had to be what he was. And I think for what he was, kids loved him, women loved him, even adults loved him. Like, he's a beloved character. He will always be a beloved character. I just don't think, to me, it's a big loss because the matches to me were never there. Like, they were never there.
I think it's you know what? I disagree in terms of the big loss thing. I do think it's a sizable loss. It's not a loss of just like, you know, John Cena's out or Seth Rollins. It's not, to me, Seth Rollins, but I do think it's a sizable loss in terms of someone who there are going to be eyes on nonetheless. Good matches or bad matches, they're going to be eyes on nonetheless. In terms of business that Dean Ambrose does, I'm sure he's not the top seller in the company, but I'm sure that he does fairly well. He's someone that, like you said, the kids love, the adults love, everyone loves. Like, he's someone, I think it's generally a sizable loss, especially when you consider for the past, 5 years, 6 years, those three, Roman, Seth, Dean, have been sort of the cornerstone of how they choose to do things over the last number of years, even when it comes to supporting the mid-card or flirting in the main event or something like that. And two of them are gone at this point. Two of them are gone. So it's kind of like, to me, the sort of the machine will definitely keep going on, but I do think it's a loss, especially in the months following, Roman Reigns' departure from the WWE.
The reason I say it's not a loss is because me and you weren't think about even just on the show, like we weren't a fan of the Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins feud at all. We weren't.
No.
We were a fan of the heel turn. The heel turn was very effective, but then it's like, to me, it's like moments with Dean, and then the match, then the bell rings, and it's just nothing. Nothing's there. He got the IC title, and he held it for like a month. Nothing was there. Like it was. Do
you think they knew? Do you think they knew? Do you think this news was known before? It could have led to maybe why that abrupt ending to the Seth Rollins feud. It could have maybe the Intercontinental title coming off hand. Do you think that it was possible that they were trying to get him to re-sign and he maybe didn't commit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they'll always do things for you to resign. I mean, when people get random title shots out of title opportunities out of nowhere and they win it, like that's always a way to get someone to stay. I just don't think that it was working for him. It's like obviously that you can't have him beat Brock. You can't have him do stuff like that. So yeah, I think that probably around November, December when they were having that feud, definitely it was time, within the first, I think they say like within 3 months they start kind of going, like Punk said a long time ago, like within 3 months of your contract ending, they'll start coming and asking, right? So probably around Christmas time they were asking. He had the IC title. Then he wasn't saying anything. So then last weekend he finally committed to that. And then in the Rumble, you saw what happened, how he got thrown out of the Rumble.
Right.
And then
this is all speculation.
Yeah, it's
smart. It's just like smart speculation, though.
It's smart. Yeah, it's easy to see why things happened the way that they did. Like why Aleister Black literally kicked the shit out of him and knocked him out of the Royal Rumble on Sunday.
Well, yeah, he sold that very funny. He sold a lot of things very funny.
He's been selling a lot. Yeah, he's been selling a lot of shit pretty funny. And it's to me, it's been a lot of moments, and I enjoy the moments. But with Dean Ambrose, the matches to me never clicked. So to me, it's like, why have someone here? And I'm going to talk about another person that's on this list. Like, why have someone here when the matches aren't exactly like clicking anymore? Like it's not clicking.
I think what you said it earlier in the thing. I do think it was generally burned out. I mean, but the time that he came back from his injury, that was Brooklyn. Then they have. Then they're going overseas, then they're going to Saudi Arabia, then they're going to Australia, then they're going to a whole lot of things. And it's a lot of things to cover in quite honestly, his first 6 weeks back on the job. I'm surprised that, it's what a time to come back, because he really had to hit the ground kind of running very, very hard. And I'm sure this arduous sort of, the WWE schedule isn't for everyone. And I think, and that's not to say it's bad or that anyone's weak for not doing it, because I do think there's several different personality types. And some personality types are people who are just like, listen, I would love to be closer to home and have much more control on my life, as opposed to me living my life through what's happening next on my schedule for the week. So, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen with Dean Ambrose over the next couple months, if he's going to be on TV, if he's not going to be on TV, if he gets to send off for WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean,
I don't. Would you book his final feud? Like, what do you think? What is there for him? Because even when we tried to book Mania, I think we tried to book it like in the chat or something. You were like, I don't know what Dean does.
Well, I don't know what most people do.
There's not. I mean, Nia Jax is the biggest biggest opponent he has coming out of Monday.
Yeah,
that's the program. Everyone else has moved on. Like everyone else on that show seems to have.
They'll tack on to that. I mean, maybe we can talk about that when we hit Monday Night Raw. But I wonder if they'll actually tack on to that. It seemed like just a surprise segment with kind of how they're doing, business as of late on television, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know what? Why don't we get to the next bit of news on the AEW watch?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Before we do you think he's going to go to AEW?
So I think he's going to go to AEW.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I mean, I don't know.
They don't got the money. Like, listen, they got money, but come on, man, you got the money to pay for all these cats. You're gonna.
I don't know.
You're gonna pay for Dean Ambrose, burnt out Dean Ambrose.
My brain don't work the same way Dean Ambrose brain works. If my brain worked the way Dean Ambrose worked, my head would explode. Like he's wired way differently than most people, and I don't know, because I never thought Chris Jericho would sign to AEW either, but here we are.
Oh, I did. As soon as he stepped into New Japan, I was like, yeah, he's going to go to Impact next.
But I never thought of a lot of different things, but here we are. So you know what? Never say never. That's all I can say.
So who's next on our list?
Whew. Big Ronda.
Mm-hmm.
Is Ronda going to AEW? No, I'm kidding.
No, she's not going to AEW.
News over the weekend reported, and it came right around Rumble time, which is right around the year mark where Ronda debuted, and it said, listen, Ronda Rousey potentially leaving the WWE in April. And that kind of it made its rounds. I think it started as a Wrestling Observer newsletter sort of story, and then it kind of, blew up when I think Bleacher Report covered it, and a lot of different other outlets were beginning to cover it because it is Ronda Rousey.
Actually made Ronda react. She reacted.
Yeah. Saying Ronda wants to start a family. Ronda's going to, she wants to leave the WWE after a year. There's speculation. And that type of news, quite honestly, could do a lot to the reputation, the fans' eyes for Ronda. And I think it did affect it on Monday Night Raw because, yeah. But that type of news, whether it's real or not, and it does appear that she'll be taking time off after WrestleMania, but it doesn't appear that she'll be leaving the WWE. I don't even think WWE would sign a 1-year deal with Ronda Rousey. That just seems crazy.
Oh, no. She's definitely going to be on a Brock deal. I mean, think about what Ronda's done all year. She's on house shows. She's on Raw every week. Literally every week. She's on Raw. Like, she has really, ingrained herself and become kind of like one of the gals. It's like she's really like ingrained into the community of WWE. And that's one thing I will say there's a net positive about someone of her stature is that even with all the other things she has to do, like she's in Mortal Kombat, she's in movies, all of this other stuff, she still has time to show up on Monday nights. And that's commendable. Like, that's something I'll always fuck with her for, So like if she wants to go start a family or whatever, whenever she wants to do it, let her do it. Who cares? Like, let her go do that.
All right. So that was sort of the big news. And you know what? And like I said, I was very, I was concerned mostly just like how this affects. Usually this type of news does not end well. These type of news, when we hear these type of news, I mean, you look back to 2004 when, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg were leaving at the same time and kind of what happened at WrestleMania. WrestleMania is going to be in New York. And also, they're going to be stopping at some major cities, some cities that don't really take shit over the next couple months. I mean, you're talking about on Twitter, they're hitting Philly. They're hitting Chicago.
Pittsburgh, which has become a smart city in the past couple of years. Right.
So, this could definitely become detrimental. I'm interested to see how WWE sort of takes this sort of news, since they're kind of they're a lot more on the pulse of what's happening in professional wrestling and can kind of shape it in their own type of way. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were both pretty positive on the aspect of her potentially taking time off. Take all the time you want, Ronda. Like, you've proven everything to us that you needed to prove. Like,
quite honestly, you know what? To me, without her, there's a little bit more different competition in the women's championship scene. I still think we need to see an Ember Moon run. I still think that there's a couple more gals on the roster who.
Oh man, Ember Moon's injured.
Yeah, Ember Moon's injured. That's another. It's not an AEW watch, but maybe.
Maybe she's going to AEW. maybe she just got injured to get out of her contract. Something crazy like that. So maybe that. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, after that, I see more of an opportunity for the women, and I see a lot of opportunity for maybe a few more NXT call-ups as well. Absolutely. Potentially her friend and her horsewoman compatriot, Shayna Baszler. Let's get to this last person. Let's get him out the way because I'm tired of the foolishness around this. Hideo Itami is gone from the WWE. He requested his release and he was granted it on Tuesday night. A lot of people are wiling out.
What do you mean?
I feel like people are wiling out because they're literally saying, man, can't wait for him to go to Noah. I can't wait for him to go to New Japan and get the shit kicked out of him by Will Ospreay and shit like that. And it's like, to me, okay, Hideo Itami, he came in with so much potential. Hulk Hogan brought him in, who at the time was, not completely scarlet lettered.
Yeah.
Wasn't scarlet lettered.
You said it better than what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So they brought him in NXT. He was a big deal showing up on their TV. He was one of the first and biggest acquisitions they had before Finn Balor, before Kevin Owens, before all of those people.
Right.
Big international star. They had he beat up a whole tag team, one of their most pushed tag teams. He beat them up by himself and some penny loafers. Okay.
It's true.
Debuted, had everything. Say what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
So, essentially it's him and Finn. They're supposed to be the number A, the 1A, 1B, or they were building them after Sammy and Kevin were eventually going to leave because we knew that was coming. He gets injured. Okay. He's off He's out 8 months? 9 months?
He was out for a long ass time. He was out for
like a year because there was complication. There was complications.
He was out like a year plus maybe. He didn't return until closer to July of 2000. I want to say 16.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, because Finn
was gone. Finn was gone by then.
Yeah, Finn was gone. Definitely gone.
Nakamura was there by then.
Big time.
He comes back, gets injured again.
Yeah, he sure did.
So think of all of this stuff. It's like there are literally people, not only with Dean Ambrose, they're saying Dean Ambrose was underutilized. They're saying Hideo Itami was underutilized. No, I can't vibe with that. I can't vibe with that.
I think I would never say Hideo Itami was underutilized because he just couldn't be utilized in sort of a way.
He couldn't be utilized.
I didn't even mean it like that in a way. You ain't have to do that big old belly laugh. Jesus Christ.
That was perfect.
Damn, I feel bad now because I had nice words to say. I think, the injuries really set him back like a lot. And you're someone who, when we were talking about it in the beginning, he came in with injuries anyway. I think injuries have just been a part of his career in general. And you know what? Not everything. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. You remember the initial Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Where it just didn't work out. Like that man was getting injured all the time. He was Triple H's first big, when he became corporate, that was Triple H's first, international signee, big project. He maybe was Hideo Itami before Hideo Itami. He was the first Triple H project before NXT came around and he had, a whole roster full of projects. But sometimes just things don't work out. And I think the shoulder injury and the setback and just kind of that whole year plus where everything sort of passed him by and he wasn't able to just gel with the environment and how things are passing him by, and then he got injured again and things kind of just continue to pass him by. I do think he had potential, but at the same time, he just never really got his foot on the gas. And then by the time he was like fully capable and fully, moving, it was kind of too late. It was it was now
passed them by.
Yeah, it was now less of how do we build this guy and more so now like what do we do with this guy? And he ended up on 205 Live, which to me could have been a sort of restart, but at the same time it's like it's just an environment that probably Hideo Itami, I would say he probably respected all the competitors there, but I'm not sure if that's where he wanted to be. For someone who competed at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal WrestleMania 31 and seeing that and getting the, the praise and applaud and all this other stuff. And for sacrificing a lot, I mean, he sacrificed family, he sacrificed, location, he sacrificed a lot to be able to do what he do for the last number of years. And you know what, maybe it's just time it's a similar situation to Dean Ambrose where it's like it's time to reset his career. But I do agree with you for the most part. He really became a shell of his former self in these last probably 2 years on the WWE roster.
I mean, my man's had the crazy gut at Royal Rumble.
He did look crazy.
That shit was. I was like, bruh, my man's is gone. When everyone noticed the gut, I was like, yeah, Hideo's finished. He's out here. He's done. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, I think I think he's been thinking about this. I mean, it's obvious he's been thinking about this for a long time. I'm just, can't hate to say, man. I wish him the best, man. Like, I really do. I like Hideo Itami, but I like Kenta. But maybe I'm hanging on to what Kenta was and not what Kenta is right now. And
Thank you.
I am. But it's like, I think it was a victim of circumstance. Injuries really fucked up his entire thing.
We got a real star in Nakamura. Just imagine how crazy the Nakamura rise has been and what Hideo Itami's been injured.
Yeah, but listen, Nakamura barely wrestled anyway. He didn't have room to get injured. I understand. But I understand. Listen, and then you bring in Nakamura, and it's everything. Hideo Itami, it's like Hideo Itami plus everything else. It's the superstar appeal. He's WWE sort of. He is like what WWE stands for.
I think Nakamura was more WWE ready than a lot of people thought. Like he literally blends in there. Like he's one of the best booked him and Oscar are the best booked Asian stars they've ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever. And they've retained pretty much all of their effectiveness, all of their characters, the same exact characters there. And I think that's crazy that Hideo just couldn't get it right, and it's sad. But
I do think I think he would have got it right, but it's just momentum wasn't on his side, and it's just that you need that momentum. You remember? I just remember the first time he hit the GTS, and that sort of wave, and kind of the internet broke on that, and the things kind of moving there. He was moving in a forward direction. I think that NXT run really just messed him up bad, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just did.
One more point to anyone that's watching the Super Bowl and wants to watch some wrestling. WWE has announced the Halftime Heat will return with a 6-man NXT tag match with Aleister Black, Ricochet, and the Velveteen Dream teaming against Gargano, Ciampa, and Adam Cole. So that's happening. It seems to be happening live during halftime. So you got a good 30-minute possible match right there, which should be pretty dope.
It should be fun, man. I mean, I hope none of them wanted to watch the Super Bowl, but it should be fun. Bringing Halftime Heat back.
You can watch the Super Bowl on Twitter, dog. They'll finish the match and probably just go to the gym and watch it or something like that.
They probably will at this point, yeah. But you know what? It looks fun. It looks incredible.
Speaking of TakeOver, just the quick thoughts on TakeOver Phoenix. I thought it was a solid show. Probably the bottom 15 of the best 15 takeovers, but still really great show. Ricochet, Johnny Gargano to me was match of the night there. Not a huge fan of that main event whatsoever. No. Really liked Bianca and Shayna for what it was, and in a really, really solid tag team match. But yeah, all in all, a really good show.
Yeah, I would say that. Really, really all. I mean, congratulations to the War Raiders, if you're a fan of them.
Wow, Jesus, that was crazy.
They, won the tag team championships. Not mad at it at all. I mean, I would have rather Undisputed Era, but if you gotta, War Raiders aren't. I guess they're cool. I really liked the Johnny Gargano Ricochet match. I thought, those are two guys you thought would deliver, and then they just did. So it's kind of like
nearly a $5 to me. Nearly a $5. Give them one more match. I think they can do it. I think they can really get $5 out of me on that.
Your thoughts on the comments before NXT TakeOver, actually on the kickoff show, that sad kickoff show. Where one Sam Roberts said Bianca Belair not takeover worthy, should not be here, isn't ready, and then she goes out and have the match that she kind of had and kind of wins over the people.
Work or not, just a stupid thing to do. I agree. To say that about a woman who is undefeated, has looked and been booked strongly for a year on their show. Meanwhile, there's people who have had way more losses than her, way less TV time, who, have been on these takeover shows. It was a stupid comment. And he leaned into it, which I think is the worst part, which is I don't know if that was told to him to lean into it or what, but it's like,
I don't know. WWE typically don't
tell them
torpedo their own superstars.
Yeah, like they typically don't do that. Like that's
especially on Triple H's NXT. Like that's not kind of how they do things here. That they don't deserve to be here. So to me, it's kind of a very jarring decision on a thing to say, especially minutes before Takeover. Yeah. You know, I thought Bianca Belair had a great match. Do I think it was the best? No, but I do think this was the stepping stone. This was the springboard into something big. I could see flashes in her eyes where it kind of just seemed like, what are we doing now? Like, to me, I would see things like, you could see kind of her brain sort of moving and just like, all right, what do we do now? In terms of moving from spot to spot. Like, there's still that sort of green factor to it. But I do think it's a major springboard into the next step. I do think this more so, even less for, damn, Bianca Belair didn't win. It does so much more for the character of Bianca Belair. I think people generally respect her, and I don't think she'll get those overrated chants anymore.
No, they booked it to perfection. I'm not a fan of making this match, but I see that they were trying to build. Like, Bianca doesn't have the cachet that Io Shirai has or Kairi Sane. She doesn't have that when she came. She came from the Indies type, vibe.
Right, and it's rare that you see that because I mean, look at the entire card.
Yeah,
they're all indie stars. Right. On the Takeover show. It's very rare you get someone WWE built, WWE bred, that are on these takeoff shows getting this opportunity. So I do think it's a testament to her as well. Literally everyone else has made their name on the independents or elsewhere.
Yeah, and she did her thing, and I'm super proud. I'm like, damn, it's like damn, we knew it was gonna happen, but like, she was right there, and they booked it to perfection. And I think there is so much greatness for her to come. And I was a believer. I'm fully in. I think that she's going to be great, literally within months. Like, she's going to be up there with Io and them, and working with those women is going to be instrumental to her being up to that point that they wanted her to be at. And to me, all these matches were good, but that match was character making. It was, everyone's going to remember that match.
Yeah, to me, it was probably the most notable on the card.
Yeah, for sure. You want to do real quick Royal Rumble, because we're going to kind of intertwine that within Raw and SmackDown this week.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Royal Rumble went long.
But it was a spectacular fucking show.
It was great, but long.
Everything got time on Royal Rumble on this event. Like, every single match got time. Like, Becky Asuka got 20 minutes. Even Miz and Shane and the Bar got like 15 minutes.
Listen, turn that up for that Becky and Asuka match.
Oh, match of the year contender.
Yeah, that match was amazing, man. That match was, I don't think they've ever crossed paths in the ring one-on-one, but to do that, it's just, they really brought it, and they really gave. There's 2 women's matches on this card that was just like, okay, which one's going to be the best? And I think everyone had their eyes on Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks, just because it got real Instagrammy for a while.
A lot of Twitter fingers.
Yeah, a lot of Twitter fingers. But man, this one blew it out the park.
It was better to me than Ronda and Sasha.
Yeah, I'll say that. I say I enjoyed it better. But I did enjoy Ronda and Sasha as well. I thought that was a very intense match as well.
Really, really loved. I mean, Balor and Lesnar exceeded my expectations. I really fucking loved that match, and I loved, again, WWE doing these stories that were very visual and not, and very understated, where it's like Finn came out and gave this guy his all for 8 minutes and he almost beat him. And it's very different than the Bryan match where he dissected Brock. This was Finn literally beating his ass for 8 minutes and then literally losing on some bullshit.
Yeah. It made you believe that, damn, what if the demon was there? Could he have won?
Create that doubt.
Shinsuke Nakamura, U.S. champion again.
We'll talk about that in a second.
On the kickoff show. And listen.
Oh, did you love how the kickoff show led to the finish of the Women's Rumble? Like, you had to have watched the kickoff show to get the ending to that.
So I think we'll get more into this on the regular shows. They've been doing that a lot, which is great. It's in terms of everything not living inside its own bubble and us getting these finishes that kind of don't make sense or anything like that. They're intertwining that. They're intertwining a lot of unpredictability on the shows, which I do enjoy. And to me, like, just taking it from the kickoff show, which happened, got to be like 6 p.m. This match went on.
Yep.
And then by the time it's like 9 p.m. and we're getting this, or 10 p.m. at least, and then we're getting this, like, it was crazy. It was crazy. I loved it.
Just really, really strong match. I love the. Where do you stand on the Rumbles themselves? I thought the men's was a little bit better for me, but the women's had a better moment at the end.
I agree. I'll say that because, to be honest with you, beginning of the women's Rumble,
rough.
They got. I was just glad they're getting them all out the way. You know what I'm saying? When Charlotte hit, I was like, okay, we're ready to. we're ready now. And then let's talk about a little bit of those NXT.
Man, Casey, turn up.
There you go. We talk about Casey. We had Candice LeRae. We had Rhea Ripley. We had Io Shirai, Kairi Sane. I mean,
who'd you pop for the most?
Zia Lee.
I know Mark popped for Zia Lee.
It might have been Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
It might have been Rhea Ripley. I'm a fan. But man, those just women that are in that match, I thought that was incredible. They didn't lean on sort of past stars. I mean, you do that with the first Rumble, you get all that out the way. I think now we're leaning on towards what the WWE has, and they kind of brought it with the roster. The roster did the damn thing. There was another moment. The Mandy and Naomi part even.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the Rumble before the Becky part. That's probably my second favorite part.
Because Mandy really leaned into her role of just like the moment when she just got on the steps and she just like basked in all of it. I was like, there you go. You got it. You know who you are now. You know who you are. Yeah. That's when you know the character that you are and you're embracing it 100% and, all that other stuff. I thought that was fantastic.
Of course, we got the moment where I think we predicted this on the show. We had the Lana, but we didn't know if someone would like beat up Carmella or what. I'm glad they let Carmella have her burn because Carmella looked fucking great in the match, by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, sorry, can't say the same for our truth, but yes.
So Lana gets injured. Becky comes out and she's allowed to basically come into the match, and she's there with not only a hurt leg. She's wrestled Asuka. They're literally stacking the deck against her, and she wins. She ends up winning the Royal Rumble. And great moment.
That's a shoot her leg, or is it work? What are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Is her leg actually hurt?
No, I think they're trying to. Here's what I think. Should I wait till SmackDown to talk about it, or should I?
All right, let's wait till SmackDown. She's been hobbling. I mean, she's been hobbling her ass on Raw, SmackDown, Royal Rumble, everywhere, man.
I'll get to my prediction on that in a second.
Okay.
The men's Rumble, I thought this was spectacular. It was up there with last year's men's Rumble.
Your thoughts on the moment, the Nia Jax moment?
I thought it was cool.
The Nia Jax moment.
It's cool to do stuff like that sparingly. Like we barely see that. So when it happens, you pop for it.
In the moment, I was like, what are they doing? Not like what are they doing as sort of admonishing them, but like, what are they doing? Like,
it's to create doubt.
To me, it's continuing with the surprises thing. Listen, Nia Jax quite honestly should be wrestling the men. She could kill most of them. She did. She threw out Mustafa Ali. So
but I thought that was really good booking for Mustafa because it kept him strong and that no men threw him out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like just her. Like he still looks good because he got to eliminate Joe.
Right.
But Joe didn't get to eliminate him. He got eliminated by someone who wasn't even in the running, I thought that was cool.
And then Dolph just says, you know what, fuck it. we're kicking this broad's teeth in. I'm not about to be eliminated by a girl. Yeah. 619 RKO. They toss her ass over. I thought it was incredible. I thought that was a great moment. Nothing bigger, nothing. Let me just have my moment. All right.
Go ahead.
Let's timestamp this. All right.
Okay.
The Miz. Shane McMahon
Can we move on?
Did I not call it, or did I call it? Did I not call it? This is not part of the story of the bar. The bar lost to a 10-year-old last year. Did we all forget? Like, come on. Shane and The Miz are tag team champions on SmackDown Live. I called it. It's great for The Miz to be a champion again. It just feels right. The titles feel, important. I'm talking on my ass. I love The Miz. Thank you. Yeah. And then Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. I mean, Eric Rowan.
No, I didn't call that one. No one could call that. But when he came out, you knew. It was one of those things where no one called it, but when he came out, you were like, "Yep, that's."
When he came out looking like a GameStop employee, like, come on. Like,
oh my god.
Luke Harper wasn't even injured. Where is he?
I think he is injured.
Oh, you must have got injured in the interim. Oh,
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. So let's move on to the main shows here.
Let's talk about them, because Raw and SmackDown were really rocking this week.
Yeah, they were very rocking. Let's start off with Seth Rollins making a tough decision. What were your thoughts on Triple H's promo where they were both crying in the ring, pretty much? Man,
that was some real shit.
It was.
It's probably like my son, the son I never had. In as an adult, I think he's generally happy for the moment. It's someone who deserves it, quite honestly. Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble. To me, it just seemed like just a moment that should happen. It's a moment everyone's going to get behind when you talk about having a match where you don't have that match where it's like 50-50 of like, will they or won't they? This is where people are going in, Seth Rollins fans, and Brock Lesnar can be as evil and as cold and as dangerous as he can be. That's why I love the beatdown of Finn after the match, because it healed him again. It made him heal again. So it made people hate him automatically. Seth Rollins, I love the idea of making the decision the same night, because to be honest, it keeps me watching that Monday Night Raw. I'm not really trying to wait till Elimination Chamber. Remember they did that with Asuka and we already knew who was going to be? Yeah. I wasn't a fan of making us wait that long for Asuka to pick. But I think the thing with the writers in the WWE now, I think they're giving the fans a lot more credit, and then they're playing towards that. Yeah. I think they're playing more towards on the doubt and the way they've conditioned fans for a lot of years in terms of how they do things. And I think they're kind of doing it a little bit obtuse, a little bit like just out of the box, which I love. I mean, everything that's happening right now, I kind of love, because it's not rudimentary. It's not formulaic. It's kind of different, and I like it. So Meelz, how do you feel about Seth Rollins' shirt? You had a tweet earlier this week. What? Seth Rollins? I'm not the only one who thinks that. All right, so here's the thing. Here's how that started. It started months ago when he first revealed the shirt. And I said, this is a terrible design for a shirt. Because what is that N doing there? What's the N doing there? The N must stand for something, because those other three letters do. So I said, you know what? It's got to be. It's got to be the N word. Listen. It's got to be. It's got to be Seth fucking Rollins N. Yeah. It's got to be. It's got to be. I love it. That's how it is now. I think that's how we describe it from now on. Yes. Fine, sure, okay. I'm gonna buy the shirt now. I bought the shirt. I thought about buying the shirt. I thought about buying the shirt now. I'm not sure how Seth feels about it, but hey, listen. Maybe a little giddy. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll go to AEW if he doesn't like it. Hey. So they then brings out Dean Ambrose, who at the time we didn't know this was a write-off, but I mean, it's certainly watching the match, it felt like it was probably the best match they've had between each other in the past couple months. Seth wins that match, and in the end of the show, he picks Brock Lesnar. There's no one else that he could have picked. Daniel Bryan was there, which was odd. Was there. I felt like they were running out of time on Raw, and that's why we didn't get that entire dragged out thing, because Daniel Bryan was there. Yeah. And I assume they plan on doing the will they, won't they, and I would have loved to hear what Daniel had to say, honestly. And then at some point they realized, oh shit, Raw ends at 11 o'clock again. Just have Brock go out. Yeah, just have Brock go out and kill him. So that's kind of what they did. Did the interaction sell you? Did the first interaction sell you? I thought it was a really good final segment. Yeah. There's something there. There's really something there between these two. Yeah, I thought so as well. I'm wondering if on purpose they're doing this thing where, because the way shows have been ending, it's been ending and things have still been happening afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's not ending like, Brock Lesnar's walking to the back and he just looks back and there goes the credits. It's ending like, and Seth Rollins took another F5 while he's picking him up, and then the feed cuts off. And it's just like, I'm interested in that how, but in terms of just the exclamation point ending, I thought it was great.
Really solid. Really
Especially
solid.
if Brock isn't going to be there for a while. Just make him kick his ass and build up Seth Rollins until you can whoop his ass.
Seth Rollins, #1 babyface. A lot of people have waited for this. We waited about a year for this. So, we're going to get to see that for the next 9 weeks until WrestleMania. But something else that happened with the second biggest babyface on the show. We don't even count Braun Strowman no more. It's pretty clear who is who now. But Finn Balor shows up on Raw the next night. It looks as though he's eyeing the IC title, which is held by Bobby Lashley. Do you think this would be a pretty good thing to happen? Had to have kind of have Seth at the top and then Finn with the secondary title, and those two pretty much carry the show?
Well, why can't we have Bobby? I mean,
Bobby's he's solid, but I never thought that this was anything but kind of like a transitional reign for one of those two to have.
I think it's great. I think it's a great, intercontinental title feud. I do think both of these characters now are in different places than they were a couple months ago, and it feels bigger. I'm wondering what they do here. We're obviously probably going to get an Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber is less than 3 weeks away at this point. So yeah, interested to see what they kind of do here. Let's get that build going.
Yeah, not much there to go off of other than Bobby attacking Finn, but I'm pretty sure we'll get more, kind of more of an idea of what they're trying to do with the storyline in the weeks to come. But I think Finn is as hot as he's ever been, and I mean, even after that match, he even looks better, I guess, in the eyes of the fans. So pretty excited about that. Probably the biggest part of the show this week was Ronda Rousey's promo. She came out. Was supposed to cut a promo doing a open challenge. Phoenix was not having it on Monday. She literally, I don't think she finished her promo. Now that I think about it, she didn't even talk anything. But they had to send Bailey out to save her, pretty much.
Send out the Bailey. I think it's a lot of things going on at once. It's Becky winning. To me, I knew all this was going to happen. I think, just in general, I think if Charlotte won, it would have been maybe a bit of a different story, but then I think both of them would have got booed.
Yeah.
But Ronda's getting booed, and this is kind of just like the motion. This is what I'm assuming they've anticipated this, and they're just telling her to be ready and make sure you keep your game face on. But the first half, she got flustered crazy.
Nothing can prepare you.
Yeah. To people booing you like angrily. And Phoenix was good. Phoenix was a great crowd. They really brought it, and it led to Bailey, and we got that Raw Women's Championship match with Ronda and Bailey.
I think that she was still flustered going into that match. I don't think the crowd was with her whatsoever for that whole night. The match was very, to me, a bit more sloppy than most of Ronda's matches lately, even with like people that aren't Bailey. But I thought Bailey kind of held it together. I thought it was solid. But I think what everyone's talking about is the promo afterwards, where she literally says she will kill Becky Lynch. Becky shows up on Raw to kind of get a
choose her.
Yeah, to choose her pretty much. And a tremendous segment. I think literally we've been waiting to see these two face to face for months, and we finally got it, and it lived up to the hype. I'm so ready for this match. I loved Ronda's promos. I think the crowd tried to kind of hijack it, but I thought that her comeback was amazing.
I agree. I thought Ronda showed the fire and intensity that I think it's getting to her. That crowd got to her.
Yeah.
And Becky's condescending and Becky's Twitter fingers and Becky's everything is kind of getting to her. And she's just like, listen, the blood is pumping a little bit differently now. So
the vibe is different. The vibe is different, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much the big parts from Raw. Women's Tag Tournament has begun. We already have two teams that have made it to the big game. That is the Riot Squad of Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan and Nia Jackson Tamina are going forward. There's one more match next week. It will be the Boston Hug Connection versus Nikki Cross. And who's it? It was Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those two. What a weird team. That should be good, if only to see Nikki Cross interact with Sasha and Bayley for the first time.
Or Nikki Cross interact with Alicia Fox. What the hell is that?
That should be hilarious.
I mean, what the hell was it? All right, so they had on SmackDown, they had women just declaring themselves into the match. And then Raw, you have to like compete to get in the match. But then the Raw tag teams are like Italia and Dana Brooke. Like,
it's a little weak. It's a little weak, man.
I'd rather just declare yourself for the fucking match. Because Natalia is like, this was supposed to be Ember Moon, but Ember Moon got injured. And Dana Brooke is like, I'm going to prove that I am actually better than you, Natalia. And Dana Brooke, everybody.
Dana needs to stick to putting XXXTentacion songs in her.
Listen, Dana Brooke is AEW bound. I don't know if you know this.
Have her, keep her. Shit,
she's AEW bound. When she gets ready, she's like, "Listen, I'm out of here, man. I'm just waiting for my contract to expire." You know,
take her and bring up Vanessa Bourne or somebody.
Yeah,
same. You get it's the same person.
It's the same person
in ring, same person. And also, last thing, Jeff Jarrett is back. Seems like he got a job as a
how does he keep doing this on television every decade?
We can't keep letting him get away with this.
My man is back. I don't know if this is the third or fourth decade that Jeff Jarrett has been wrestling in, but I'm pretty sure they're going to announce that he's competing at Elimination Chamber.
The Bag Man. That's his new name. The Bag Man.
How? I mean, so he shows up. There's an Elias segment. Elias is heel again, by the way.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm fine. You got to realign it. You have to realign everything now.
I mean, everything's getting realigned. Mojo Rawley's back. What the hell was that? Kurt Angle came back and died for our sins.
And I think you got to realign that if Dean's leaving also.
Yeah, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are a tag team again.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of different things going on, but Jeff Jarrett being back and Jeff Jarrett getting a noticeable segment, and then they doing the song. Talk about same old song and dance. That is the same old song and dance. That is literally.
I love it. I really did like the segment, yo. I really did like it.
Because Jeff Jarrett still got it. He's not like a washed. He's someone who's probably wrestling like 3 months ago. Like he's not completely washed. I'm just been mentally scarred by NWA TNA of him holding that NWA belt for like a year and hitting people with the stroke over and over and over. And it's just like King of the Mountain. Oh shit! How does Jeff Jarrett retain? Like, oh god. I'm just scarred from that.
That's not going to happen. It's going to be a Kurt Angle like run where he'll come out, pop the crowd, and lose. Kurt Angle showed up on this show this week.
Until he was like, what if I win the Intercontinental Championship, right? And Finn Balor finally gets to go to Mania. Like,
and then Triple H is going to show up and say, you better back up.
You better back up.
You better back up.
You better back up.
Did you see the people that were trying to get us into Starcast today? I
mean, shout out to everybody who is.
Shout out to everybody.
Shout out to the lovely people who know what time it is. That's all I got to say about that.
You think they're gonna let us in?
Nah. No. Nah. They're good. They're good.
Oh man, we'll see. A lot of people have been like, if you see Conrad Thompson, hey, it's Conrad. Tell Conrad, let a show in and let us in. Let us in. We'll talk about some real shit.
Good luck with that.
So yeah, let's go to SmackDown really quick. SmackDown, Becky gets a hero's welcome. She's on every show this weekend. Like she was on Royal Rumble, Raw, SmackDown. They're fully behind her. I don't think there's any question about it.
It's like when your favorite band comes to town. When the man comes in town, everybody's around. And the man was in town. She came up on SmackDown. The people were there for it. Charlotte was there for it. And she, really laid the beating down on Becky. It's interesting that, I mean, at this point, we kind of got to know what they're going to do with Charlotte now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, shout out to me being right. First of all, I call this.
Go ahead. Call it.
I called all this months ago. First of all, shout out to me being right, because people said I wasn't right. A lot of people were like, "No,
I didn't say that.
Happen.
I didn't say that.
Why would they do that?"
Meelz, hold on. I never said that.
I'm not saying you say that. I'm saying people.
Okay, just let me
listen, I'm just saying people. A lot of people said I wasn't right when I called this months ago, and then I was like, you know what? And sometimes you just got to be a fan, and you got to stop overanalyzing all these wrestlers, and stop overanalyzing, and stop overbooking, and stop and ruining your own expectations by, you know, trying to overthink a lot of these situations. And there's sometimes you really just got to take a step back and say, what would I like to see, as opposed to what I think should happen. And that's always kind of been my philosophy of professional wrestling in terms of viewing this and analyzing this. It's more so what would I like to see. I think I got that a lot from, like, when you told me about freelancing, it was like, what would people like to read? Right. And not just like, what would you like? Yeah. So it's kind of, it's sort of taking a step like that. So that's my only thing. I call all this. I'm very happy.
So here's my, and you're right. Meelz booking never loses, and I'll never go against you on that. Here's what I'm thinking, and I brought this up earlier in the show. Sure. Becky's leg injury definitely is a work. Becky, I think her leg will be injured for the next couple of weeks into Elimination Chamber, because I do think that we are getting a Becky Charlotte match. I think that Charlotte is going to win that match, and I think she's going to use the leg to put her. She's pretty much going to use the leg injury to get her in the figure eight and beat her, and then insert herself into the match in WrestleMania. Because if Ronda's leaving, you're not going to get the payoff for the Charlotte match, and you need to have the payoff for that. And if Ronda's going to leave, that you have to have the payoff. You have to have them interact.
All of this is building up to something, and I do think them neglecting the fact that Charlotte did whatever she did to Becky at Survivor Series, and Becky doing what she did to Ronda like twice, and not sort of playing off of that, and then also the feud between Becky and Charlotte. I think it would be a huge disgrace. So I'm interested to see how this becomes a triple threat. I think that could be a great idea, quite honestly.
Don't know where this leaves Asuka, who was not on the show this week, which for good reason. She's the queen. She doesn't need to be on the show. Very interested to see where she goes as far as the women's title. I like I said a couple of weeks ago, I see her holding that for a very, very long time, at least until the summertime. But it's very interesting, like where her match would be slotted and who she'll be facing. I think the options of SmackDown are very, very, like, in my opinion, very limited. Is when you get away from Becky and Charlotte, like,
it drops off pretty
steeply, because those are the top three. I understand. I do agree with, like, bringing someone up. I think that someone will probably be Mandy Rose. Right now, I'm penciling that in. Asuka, Mandy Rose at WrestleMania. Honestly,
that'd be wild.
I wouldn't be mad at it though. Honestly, I think it's time. Like, Asuka's the perfect person to teach someone on a big stage. I don't see Mandy winning.
That's a big ass stage, though.
But I do think that the Mandy Rose Naomi feud isn't going this long for no reason. I think it's to get her over as a top heel in the division, while Charlotte and Ronda are busy, or not. Charlotte and Becky are busy on, because they're probably going to be showing up on Raw too. So, like, they're going to be elsewhere for a while. Right. So that's my prediction. But really good segment between those two. Becky sucker punches Charlotte. Charlotte comes back and attacks her and hurts her leg a little bit more. So yeah, we're off to the races to the WrestleMania season for those two. How'd you feel about the Nakamura Rusev double turn on R-Truth?
So SmackDown started off in a very jarring fashion, because there was all this hullabaloo about, yes, R-Truth was never actually in the Royal Rumble, so as a consolation prize, not a shot at the WWE Championship. No, that would be too wild. Let's give him a shot at the United States Championship, something on his level. And he got a shot against Nakamura. I think everyone thought this was kind of a run-of-the-mill match. He would, Nakamura wins the U.S. Championship on Sunday night. He defends it. He wins. He goes back home. He's happy. He surfs. Whatever. R-Truth wins. And in a very, I would say, controversial way, because I think a lot of people To me, I saw Nakamura kick out before the 3.
Yeah, they got up like they were going to continue to wrestle.
Right. And I think that was all part of a lot of people saying it's a botch. A lot of people think all of this to me was planned. It's just, I think Nakamura kicked out a little bit before he was supposed to kick out.
Or he was supposed to kick out at the 3 and not the 2.
Yeah. Right. He kicked out a little bit before. I think he anticipated it and kicked out a little bit before. I think all of this was supposed to happen nonetheless. So R-Truth wins the United States Championship. And then Rusev comes down angry, Healy, for some reason.
Out of nowhere.
Just nowhere. He's just like, listen, I lost to Nakamura. I don't even know what argument he was trying to give because he lost. And says, if you're tough, you're going to, face me. And then R-Truth faces him and then beats him. So now Rusev is angry. He's stomping out, R-Truth. And no, R-Truth tries to thing away. Nakamura comes in, does a little run in, starts to put the boots to him. Rusev comes in, puts the boots to him. And now we've got a deadly alliance between Rusev and Nakamura.
I dig it.
This is more of the realigning on the rosters. I like face Rusev. I don't know what was going on. I love face Rusev, but I mean,
well, it's a realignment. I think in the sense that they need tag teams now too, and they honestly need stables also. So they have to they kind of have to realign it so that I think this is also to get everybody on the card. So like if Nakamura is not going to have a title program, he at least needs to have a program where he'll be allowed to be in a tag team or a team where they can do a multi-man match or something of the sort.
I think it's in sidebar to that. I think R-Truth has done a great job over the last 5 months.
Yeah,
he deserves the U.S. Championship. Honestly.
I think that'd be great. I think he'll probably lose it to Andrade to keep it 100.
Yeah, he probably will lose at some point. I don't think he's going to keep it forever, but
no.
I also think they need a new United States Championship. They need to update that belt.
To what?
Something else. Something new.
You can't be changing all the.
It's so fresh. It's a little old. It's a little dated. It's probably the most the way the belt has looked for. It's like the longest tenure this belt has looked.
Ever. Ever.
It is what it is. Especially because we're going to be talking about new belts later. But yeah, it's a little bit of update. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all. Nakamura, Rusev. Let's figure out. Nakamura gets to do a little bit less work. Rusev does all the heavy lifting. I
can't wait for the segments and promos with these guys. I think they're going to have so much fucking fun.
Yeah,
these segments.
I agree. You know what? Could be Nakamura, Rusev, Shane, Miz.
Moving on. Speaking of tag teams,
sounds like money for Mania.
Really good 4-way elimination tag match. I know you're not a huge fan of Heavy Machinery, but I think they really, really showed off and showed out on SmackDown this week. I thought they were probably some of the. Obviously the Bar and the Usos are great always, but I think Heavy Machinery showed me a lot on Tuesday. They did a really great job, and they pinned the New Day.
Yeah, you can't be mad at that. Yeah, I guess they pinned the New Day.
The New Day, they're going to be over regardless, no matter what they do. But I think Otis and Tucky, they fit to me on SmackDown more than a Sanity does on SmackDown, in my opinion.
The New Day is like Keenan and Kel, and the Heavy Machinery is like Drake and Josh.
Wow.
It's kind of like the low fat, vanilla,
What?
But I guess it's still funny, right? Yeah, I guess it's still funny, right? That's my
your hatred of War Machine and Heavy Machinery boggles my mind every time.
Well, maybe I'll learn to love them.
But yeah, really good match. Looks like the Usos are going against your favorite, the world's greatest tag team of Shane and Miz. So
I expect another 4-star classic out of this match, man.
Yeah, expecting them to beat the fucking Usos is gonna make me tear my hair out.
Well, get ready.
Finally, we get the final segment of the show. Daniel Bryan comes out, and once again, I don't think this guy's missed on the mic in about 2 months at this point.
No.
He throws the WWE title away on the trash and says, "This is trash." And I want a soundbite of him saying that also, and reveals the eco-friendly WWE title, which looks like it is a foam belt. It's made of like wood and pebbles and stuff like that.
The good wood. You remember the good wood, man.
I remember the good wood necklaces.
Goodwood days, man. Those are the days.
Really tremendous segment. Kind of reinforces the relationship with he and Rowan now, which brings out the challengers for the now announced.
Randomly, just 5 other guys just roll out.
Oh man, Samoa Joe being the most, like, Mustafa Ali kind of got flipped up on the mic. I don't think he needs to talk a lot, but I mean, they had a really good brawl, really good segment. Samoa Joe comes out and just completely demolishes everybody.
Just eviscerates everyone. Shout out to that.
Jeff needs to put hands on that man at the back, in the back, bro. Joe shows up and asks how Wendy's doing, and it just gives me flashbacks to November. Well, oh, Wendy!
It starts the 5-man brawl. Of course, 5. It's like you ever watch The Simpsons where people just start brawling in the crowd, just randomly? That's kind of how this ended. I mean, it's 3 weeks until the show starts, so they're just like,
they got to start it. So pretty much the
Jeff Hardy just woke up out of nowhere. Jeff Hardy hasn't been on TV for months.
Just appears, and
he's in the WWE title match. I can't be mad at it.
So the match is Elimination Chamber WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Mustafa Ali, and Samoa Joe. Should be solid. Should be really good.
Should be solid. I'm not a fan of Elimination Chamber matches. I'll just be honest with you.
They're too long. They're way too long. And it seems like we're gonna get 3 on that show. So
we had good ones last year. I'll give them that.
We had 2 last year, right?
Yeah. We had the Raw one. We had Braun Strowman killing everyone until he met Roman Reigns, and then we had the first ever women's one, which had, I think, Alexa Bliss winning.
Oh, they're definitely not doing that with either of the titles this year, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So how do you feel about the look of this title, this eco-friendly title? I
think it's fucking hilarious every time I look at it.
It's like Sears bag of a title.
There is no one who puts everything into their gimmick than Daniel Bryan, and I love. One thing I do love that they don't do enough belt changes, like to fit someone's personality. Like they did it all the time in the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. I love.
Well, they did it to Stone Cold a lot. Yeah,
they did it to The Rock too. The Rock had one.
Yeah, but
it's like, well, I mean, they
Stone Cold, yeah.
They did it more in the 90s, where Ultimate Warrior had a strap, or Shawn Michaels had his own strap, he had his own belt. I love the idea of belt changes. It kind of solidifies that this is the regime, and you always remember the regime from that moment, and I really enjoy that.
And I bet Daniel Bryan won't have to carry that heavy-ass belt around in his luggage, and now it's probably 10 pounds lighter. I mean, this is all eco-friendly at this point.
That belt looks like it weighs as much as an iPhone 10.
That belt looks...
It looks like something, okay?
It is a hemp belt.
It looks hilarious. It really does look hilarious, though.
Hemp belt. RVD is lining up to challenge that belt right now.
A couple quick shots. Andrade and Rey Mysterio had an altercation, so that looks to be continuing. Really like that segment as well, especially Andrade, who seems to be coming into his fucking own as a cocky heel right now. Look at this.
It's all in the suit, man. And you look as good as how he looks. It just comes to you.
He was in the Final Four of the Royal Rumble also on Sunday. So obviously they have big plans for Mr. Andrade. Also, Mandy Rose finally gives the reasoning for why she doesn't like Naomi. They brought back the
stretch.
They brought back the old tough. Well, of course it's a stretch, right? Because she's delusional, right?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that.
I'm saying, but
I agree. It works. Yeah, like it works.
I think I got it like immediately.
I'm not mad at it, but a little stretch. But could have just said you don't like the broad, but it is what it is.
Oh,
but
okay, all right.
Women don't need
just quick shots.
Maybe it's like, women hold on to things for so long. Maybe it's one of those type of things.
Will she just remember, bro?
Well, here we are. Listen, Sonya was there too. Sonya was there. Apparently, Sonya was also there. She. You didn't hear the word she said off camera. I was like, oh my god.
She probably called it the N-word.
Nah, no way. What? I got a few folks. They need to take it up with Tamina too.
Oh wow, Tamina out here
shoulder checking Dean Ambrose. Crazy.
She'll whoop your ass.
She out here tossing Dean Ambrose out like no shirt, no shoes. We out of here, my chi. Come on, we out of here.
Ladies free before 11 to Nina. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. And that's it for a huge stacked fucking week of pro wrestling. Thank you for listening to the A Show this week. We got through it. We survived. We're into February, which hopefully will be a little bit less crazy than January was. But this was a huge month in wrestling, and just literally we had a bunch of shows this month from every company out right now. Pretty much everyone put a show out this month, but we're finally through January. It's felt like 4 years we've been in this month, and we're finally on the road to WrestleMania. So this is my favorite time of the year. Yeah, man. I mean, we got it all here. For sure. And for that wraps up another episode of The A Show. Thank you for listening. Of course, you can listen to us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, everywhere where podcasts are being played. You can also check out our other shows. Just this week, we had a new episode of Spot Callers with myself and Cyrus reviewing Evolve 68. You can also listen to the latest episode of RSBN with Mark and Jeff. They're talking about the Anthony Davis situation. Very, very, this is a situation that could literally be ending right now as we're speaking. So it's very, very urgent. So make sure you check out their thoughts on that. We also have The Lookout. If you haven't listened to The Lookout and their review of the Broly movie, please do. I listened to it just this week. Spectacular work, Meelz. Thank you. I hope you saw the movie. I have not saw the movie. I'm going to see it. Okay. All right. I had to listen to it. It's got to be on Clonflix now. Wow. Don't say that too loud. The Feds is listening. Okay. All right. Never mind. Listen, we got a review. On iTunes. Oh, we did. Oh, shit. Shout out to Dream TV too. He says the A Show is a dope show. It is in fact the first wrestling podcast I decided to peep. It's especially nice to hear from two black men discuss these topics in depth that they need to go. Need more of that. Keep up with the work. Dream TV 2 on Twitter. You put ready to rumble, and here we are, man. Shout out to you, Mr. Dream. Shout out to Dream TV 2, man. Thank you so much. And if you want to continue to support, please subscribe and also rate us on iTunes. I guess this week, this week, the phrase will be Seth fucking Rollins. So just Seth fucking Rollins, not the rest. Right. Just Seth fucking Rollins. Just Seth fucking Rollins. Not that last word. Okay. So if it leaves Seth fucking Rollins, leave us a 5-star review. We will shout you out on the show next week on the A Show. So yeah, just do that. Give us as many 5 stars as you can, please. We love it. We love getting reviews. You know what I'm saying? It helps us out. It helps us bring you the shows that you want to hear. Just rate RNC Radio on iTunes. We appreciate you so much. Once again, thank you guys for listening to the A Show. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Same wrestling time, same wrestling channel on RNC Radio. Till next time, peace. Seth fucking Rollins.